Hello, good afternoon. It is Friday, the 5th of July. It's the Everton Daily Live, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined in the studio by County Road Bobbler himself, Dave Witch. Dave, how are you?
Good.
It's been a while.
It does seem to have been ages, doesn't it, since I've been in. But I always look forward to it. And I also got to see Business with Blaine as well live, which an education as always.
Well, you know, that is for the Premier members. Don't tell these YouTube people that this kind
Toffee should be telling them, of course, to try and get people over to.
It was like a bit of a joke.
Didn't sound.
And he dived in. He's gone Ned.
Yeah.
He's gone full Ned. All I'll say, Dave, is get that a bit closer to your brother.
It sounded anti-business.
There we go.
No, it was good. John is very good at explaining things that I'm not good at, so that's good.
It was.
Interesting.
As always. But
So where are you up to? How are you feeling? How are you, the way the summer's progressing for Everton Football Club?
I just think the world's a brighter place at the moment, isn't it? Obviously, things can only get better. Should be definitely the tagline, I think, for today, because we've seen a certain, without getting all political, we've seen a certain...
You've gone very political early doors. You can't go political, Dave. Let's move on.
But things can only get better on the Everton
Would
front
we
as
be
well.
allowed to say that? Because didn't they say they didn't want that song associated with any politics?
saying it.
Probably not Everton.
Toffee TV is saying it. Things can only get better. But no, from an Everton point of view, look, things are starting to look great, aren't they? Obviously the roof was finished at Bramley Moor Dock the other day, or the Everton Stadium, as it's labelled at the moment. We're starting to see some headway with the ownership stuff that's really been bogging us down for the last, well, not even 12 months, because it was 2 years before that when we were all wanting change. So, yeah, I think things are starting to look up, and we've done business. I did have to pinch myself when we'd signed a player before July. But, I know we didn't get a free over the line, but I'm going to ask you a question. When was the last time we signed a player? I've got two questions, actually. We signed a player before July.
Well, I could be boring and say James Tarkowski, because that was done. But if you're doing it the way we've done it this time, I think me and Ped were saying is you probably got to go back to the Andy Johnson, Tim Howard, Joleon Lescott, which was 2000, or Andy Johnson, Tim Howard, Andy Johnson, Joleon Lescott, 2006. When we had three in by the day pre-season started.
And there was also...
Which is mad.
It was also the year we got Keane in as well,
we
Sandro.
Also got Sandro.
But, it goes back, we're grasping, aren't we, to say, so it's nice to see Everton being proactive, getting players in. Look, I know people are saying, like, Jack Harrison is not the sexiest of names in the business, but he's a squad player. He's as we've seen last year, he's going to turn up every game and give you a shift. He might not be scoring 10, 12 goals. I'm sure them type of players will come, but at the moment we just need consistency, don't we? We need solid Premier League players, and it's just refreshing to see us do business early, and hopefully that's a precursor for the rest of the summer, really.
I think with Harrison, he is an interesting one. I've seen him doing some quotes have come out from him in the last day or so, saying the defensive numbers were good, but he needs to score more goals. He wants to score more goals. And if you actually go and look at his record at Leeds, he was 7 and 8 goals a season. Yeah. Now last year he only got 3 for Everton, 3 assists, 4 if you include the cup, I think, or it might be 3 if you include the cup goal. But we do need more, and if he can weigh in with 8 goals from a wide area, then that helps immediately. Everton's goal scoring record was absolutely abysmal last season, and has been for the couple of seasons. And Sean Dyche is the one thing I would say is his record. He's still at less than a goal a game as a manager, which is terrible. Yeah. So he needs to improve that. But the players, they're the ones who play the game, so they have to be better. But I think Jack Harrison, I say it lots. For some reason, people have a go at him. I don't know why. The lad comes, battles, works hard.
It's what Sean Dyche wants.
But he's a decent player. And he's a hard worker.
Do you think there's an element, though? Because obviously it went up a while ago about his heat map at Leeds, and it was all down the left. He was playing left-sided, and we know that a lot of, certainly when Calvert-Lewin scored in goals, there were a lot of reasons, James Rodriguez size reasons, but we also seen him score a lot of goals from getting to the bar line, chopping the ball back, and a lot of the time with Harrison, he's had to chop back inside, and you know what I mean? Yeah. Do you think that there is an argument to maybe play him on the left? I was surprised, to be honest with you, when McNeil was going through a bit of a rough time. his form was suffering a bit maybe as well, that he didn't just use him on the left.
Should have, yeah.
I know that Dyche is a bit of a creature of habit, isn't he? So
I think McNeil, let's be perfectly honest, when Dwight McNeil was, and he was poor last season, he had moments, he definitely had moments, and he did finish quite well actually, but he had that bit in him, and we know he's having stuff was going on in his life, and therefore that's a good, it's not an excuse, it's a fact.
Yeah.
His partner was really ill, and that's a fact of life, and he didn't play as well as he had done in the half season before, because we can't forget the first half of his Everton career that season wasn't very good either. And then Dyche come in and he was tremendous till the end of the season. And then last season wasn't great and he finished well with a couple of goals, but that was coming in field. But Jack Harrison absolutely should have been put up there, but Dwight was left in because of his dead ball ability. But we have to be better than that. We can't just say, well, no matter what you're doing, you take a good corner so you can stay in. We have to be able to mix and match, don't we?
We've got to get to a place where Dwight McNeil's the backup.
You know, or he's in because he's playing brilliantly.
Because he's playing brilliant.
That's what it's about.
At the moment, we've just got 11 players almost, haven't we, all match. So when we get to a point where we're that good that Jack Harrison can't get in the side, we're that good because Dwight McNeil can't get in the side, then that means Everton are a better football team. Yeah. So that's and going back to, I listened to John Blaine say it, and he talked about and you were talking about what points total should we get, and Sean Dyche should be aiming for the points total that we had without the deductions +8.
Yeah.
Now going back to what you said about Jack Harrison, well, that's a conversation Dyche should be having with Jack Harrison. Right, this is what you done last term. Yeah. I want you to, let's see, you want to stretch and target.
You should be able to double
so,
that.
I want you to get 8-9 goals, 8-9 assists. I want you to aim for, even say 10-10. If he gets 7 or 8, assists, 7 or 8 goals, then Everton are in a better place. Stretching targets, be demanding, and you hope that these are the kind of conversations that are going on in the background now when they're coming back from their nice little holidays and Miami in Jack Harrison's case.
Steve P says his best position is off the left. Jack Harrison. I'm said that if you look at his thing, it simply is, and there his numbers, and Dwight McNeil. You see, I would, if the manager, and we know that Everton are on the lookout for Everton want 2 fast wingers. This is in this transfer.
Wait,
I know.
Fast?
Apparently.
Wingers?
Dave, I know. Listen, I just pinched myself. I went outside to make sure, I'm awake and stuff, but that's what they're looking at, and obviously Minter would have been one of them, and that would have been a big tick. It's not happened. Philogene, there's an interest in. He's not slow. Listen, he's not I don't think he's a ball over the top, watch him go type of player, but he's quick, he can get there. Everton are on the lookout for another one, that's great. Yeah. But if you just basically do the sums, we had Dobbin and Danjuma last year with McNeil and Harrison, and they've both gone. So you have to replace them, and the manager had said numerous occasions last season, the squad isn't big enough. This squad just, it needs, and Everton are after. That's why I think they'll bring in the 9 that I'd said in March, April time. The 2 wingers have to be. But also, the fullback. If you play Jack Harrison on the left and you're saying to him, get on the outside, get them balls in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, let him, because he is someone who he's a push past you and run after. He's not doing 85 step overs and rainbow flips over his base
into the box,
which is fine. That's okay, because Michalenko doesn't really want to go steaming on the outside. The Everton's issue, one of Everton's big issues, really, just one, and it's almost 2, is that neither fullback goes on the overlap. No. So if you're Jack Harrison,
that's by design, though.
That's 100% by design, but this is where the manager, I think, has to tinker with this now. If he's going to say Michalenko's his left back, and he's more defensive, Miko, and he is. Yeah. He is. Then you're right. You've almost got to do what Carlo did. When Carlo had Luca Dean, it was like he's going. He's bombing on. Yeah. So we just said to Seamus, because Seamus is obviously getting a bit older, yes, you can raid, but be careful. If Luca goes, you sit in and make it 3 at the back. Dyche loves making sure there's 3. He loves making sure there's 10 at the back, but, no, he's joking. He likes to make sure there's 3. So if the right back, if Miko's going to be the defensive fullback, then the right back has to either be Nathan Patterson, and you're saying to him, Nathan, run up and down. Every time he gets it, you've got to go on the outside. Me and Ped have talked about this so many times. overlap, because that then gives your inverted winger a bit of space to be able to do it.
But I mean, again, going back to targets, I think we had the 4th best defence in the Premier League, but we also had one of the worst attacks.
Yeah, 2nd worst, wasn't it?
So we can almost afford to say, right, we don't need the 4th best attack in the league. It's a defence in the league.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can have the 8th best defence and the 8th best attack, and that brings you forwards. You know, so
100%,
it's about that give and take, isn't it? You know, and they've got to be looking at these things now. And I mean, Mykolenko, obviously, he has got his limitations. Some of it, obviously, is by design. But we did see for a little tiny period under Frank Lampard, him pushing Mykolenko on. I don't know if you remember towards the back end of the season. And he ended up scoring the goal, didn't he? Leicester away. He was getting on the edge of the box quite a lot under Lampard towards the end of the tenure there. So we know he can do it. He's physically capable.
Dice done it last year with him, though, the first start. You know, we scored against Brighton, against Palace away. He was in the box in the first 50 seconds.
Just make the run. And that's all it is half the time, isn't it? Make the run. And I mean, we're seeing this with England, aren't we? Because, you know, we're seeing Trippier step inside. And that ultimately drags the players over, and Foden's
Are you saying watching England like watching Everton, Dave? I did say this the other day. They were just messing with it and then tossing the ball into the box.
I mean, it's very limited. It's very limited, isn't it?
I mean, there you go. Ped's giving us cheers for that comment. But what I was sort of getting at is, if it's more to do with McNeil and Harrison just right now, is that, as Steve said there, his best performances for Leeds were off the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So if you put Jack Harrison on the left-hand side and you had the full-back covering him, because he will work hard, and then Mykolenko can make the run because you know Harrison will tuck in for him, that's fine. On the right-hand side then, if you've got Dwight McNeil switching it out, and I know Dwight isn't great off the right, no, but what I'm thinking of is, if the manager still wanted those two to be his wingers in a game, what you need for Dwight McNeil to succeed on that side then is a fullback going beyond him. Because I think what's happened when Dwight McNeil has been thrown onto the right-hand side...
needs a Scottish overlapping, attacking... I don't know if there's any out there, but...
But if you had someone who's flying down that right-hand side, giving him the space, then McNeil, if it is McNeil... Personally, I want a right footer on the right wing, I do. I want someone who goes past defenders, right?
Kabore, that's where Kabore would make a bit of sense.
Well, Everton, I mean, Everton. I mean, I look and just think, why is it we keep getting linked with right backs? Why are we not getting linked with left backs? Because we need someone who's going to come in and challenge Mykolenko as well. It isn't Ashley Young.
No.
Ashley Young really should be almost a rotational sub this season. He should be, listen lads, with 15 minutes, 18 minutes to go. You're going on. Either right wing, left wing, right back, left back. You just cover positions. Isn't
this something that you've been talking about for a while though? You know, that having a player there that allows you to maybe take a bit more risk. So rather than going out and buying a left back for £10 million that's already playing in the Premier League, go out to, you know, one of the leagues out there, you know, the Norwegian league or wherever you want to go, look up to the players, Austria, and just take a bit of a risk on someone. You know, and you know that Mykolenko's going to be fit for 32 games.
And you've got Ashley Young.
So you
can almost guide them through.
Yeah, just spends, you know, $1.5 million, $2.5 million on a young lad that's got the physical attributes to do it. And just say, look, you buddy her up with Ashley Young, and I'm too close to Ashley Young, but Mykolenko, and just say, you know,
habits in it. Ashley Young, he's a great pro, and really experienced, and this almost gives you that thing if you're giving him a year to grow then. You're giving him a year to grow.
Sounds like we know what we're talking
we about. Do. Now let's hope they do. But there is, I mean, listen, otherwise, Dave, for the business, Tim Irabuna looks like the right sort of profile. Everton have been watching him, I think, so they've been watching him around Christmas, where they knew, you know, this kid there might be an opportunity. I'm sure he's been on the list anyway because of just his profile. That was, in my opinion, that's a good bit of business. 6 foot centre midfield player, can get about the pitch. Done well at QPR.
Yeah.
He's played in the Premier League, albeit, you know, small minutes, but he's played in Europe for Villa. And obviously, the players they've also looked at, they're looking at, and Edelman and Dyche come in as well, who we know is good.
Interesting player, isn't he?
But Irabunum first, should that be the model of player Everton are trying to bring this into this squad now? That kind of player.
I'm not going to try and say his surname, so I'm going to call him Big Tim. But yeah, Big Tim. I've got to admit, I had to Google him when someone mentioned his name. Anyway, you go away and you read stuff, don't you? And you look at stuff and what have you. And yeah, the profile seems right, doesn't it? A young, ambitious player. And, we kind of had to talk off camera talking about become, what do Everton want to be? What
champions?
Well, apart from champions, yeah. But what do we want to be as a club? What's our identity? And I think this is a great time for this new group to come in to set that narrative, to say, all the bad things that have been written about Everton in the last couple of years, this is what Everton are now, and this is what Everton are going to be for the next 10 years. We are going to win trophies, and we're going to do this by, and we're talking, obviously you mentioned it on business with Blaine, that if you're a Premier member, you got to subscribe and watch.
This is Dave. I'm not. This is Dave. But he is a Premier member, of course.
Of course. But what we could be is that kind of. We are going to be the Dortmunds of the English Premier League.
Me and Ped have said this a few years ago. I think Ped, come and get involved in this. We've said this before, haven't we? In terms of with the way the club could be, because we're not going to out-muscle Liverpool to be the biggest club in Liverpool, because they're huge, and we have to just accept that. But we can be our own thing, and Dave's right, isn't he? As well as like the atmosphere. I mean, we've been to Dortmund.
Sorry,
we've been to Dortmund. Yeah,
been to Dortmund, have we?
But seeing what that atmosphere was like and how they create their football club. And this is a football club that nearly went bust, by the way. Nearly went out of business in 2009. I think there was a winding up order. But Dave's right as well. What we've seen with Dortmund with Jadon Sancho, Jude Bellingham, and these kind of players. Bino Gittins is another one who they've got, and they're looking at they tried to get Anthony Gordon, didn't they, a few years ago. Everton should really try to market themselves like this, or change what they are. Come to us as a young player. You'll get a chance in our first team. We're moving to this ground. Everything's on the up. Because we have got to reinvent.
Maybe that's already started with some of the scholars we saw coming in a couple of days ago. Maybe that's already started. Maybe Everton have put the feelers out. We've brought in a couple of what are touted as being young, exciting players. A lot of buzz about both of them in terms of the youth ranks, especially the lad from Northern Ireland. Both of them have started their careers at 15. So maybe we're reaching out, going, there is a pathway for you, and if we bring a few in together, it almost like jump starts. Like you want. It's when you hear those, you go, I've been at Everton for 16 years, but you're only 19. How did that happen? It's like there's loads of that about. So maybe what we need to do in the next couple of years is like jump start our 16 to sort of 19 plan by going and bringing in the best talent we can find. And I know that's to touch our ass on maybe some of these teams, but I don't know, for some of these teams that we've gone to Partick Thistle, brought them in. Who knows what the connection could be between the two teams? Now Everton could say, we'll do you a pre-season friendly. We'll make sure that if we have talent, we'll push them your way on loan, and for the team in Northern Ireland. So that's got to be the route. I'm not so sure about maybe picking them up. I think Brighton have already sort of stolen march on us. Not a solly.
Well, Everton, and just on that, Everton and Brighton are battling it out for the latest young Irish scene called Mason Melia.
Brighton have already already gone there, and I'm not saying you can't get in the mix because of that. I think there's a lot of things Everton can learn from Dortmund, of course. And retooling our club a little bit. We for the last 5 or 6 years, well, not for the last 2, but before that, we tried to act like Billy Big Bollocks, didn't we? And I don't think that's what any of us wanted, though, really. No. In reality, I don't think any of us really wanted that.
We knew what we wanted.
Exactly, yeah. But we had this fella who looked at all the other clubs. The problem is, we're surrounded by clubs that, for the most part, we either used to be competitive with or bigger than. And now, just in the Northwest. We've got 4 clubs within 25 miles, 30 miles of each other, who are, certainly 3 of them now are seen as 3 of the biggest clubs in the world. And that's what we're up against. But for a long time, we were bigger than Manchester City by a country road. and we went toe to
Historically,
toe.
still are,
We
yeah.
went toe to toe with Liverpool for a while. We were bigger than Liverpool for many years. And Manchester United, no fear going to Old Trafford when I was a kid. We used to beat them quite regularly. So we have to find our own identity, and I think that starts with the ground. It starts with the fans. It starts with the club being a little... I mean, there's lots of things the club can do. They need to stop being as wound up tight as they are and embrace the fan base. We've been talking about this. Things like, you know, pre-season just makes me laugh. I'm just still laughing that we're playing at a ground with for that old 5,000 when we could easily sell out 25,000 and allow this club Sligo to earn a shitload of money. But we're not. We always underplay everything we do. And I think Everton have got to start embracing the fan base. They just have to. It really, really annoys me how much that we sort of play down. How we love the fan base. You'll know, Dave, more than anyone, how 1878 have got involved and
Dave's
have been
part
part
of
of
the
that.
1878.
And I've been like a big part of it, and how Everton have let them in. I think there has to be more. I've said for a long time, I think one of the 1878s or two of the 1878s should be employed by Everton Football Club. I think two of you should work for the club on the 1870s. They should pay you to do that job full time. That's what I believe.
Like supporter liaison officers.
People in this country might go, wow, that's mad. We dealt with a guy when we were in Dortmund who looked after us for 2 days, and that literally was his job. He was paid by the club, but he represented the fan base, and he took us in the ground, and he made sure we were looked after to get Dortmund shown to our audience in the best possible light. He gave us passes to go everywhere he wants. He told us where not to go. He said you can go if you want. He said, but he was like, that's the ultras. They might be a little bit weird with you.
Yeah.
But the fella told us everything we needed to know. The next day we were like, what an atmosphere. He was like, fans are not happy. They're not happy. Too much of the rest of the ground's quiet. Yellow walls having to do all the work, all this kind of thing. There should be more and more links between the fan base. And the first thing Everton should be doing, I think, is making sure that every fan goes home happy with their experience of going the game and everything surrounding them. And I think right now, you know, things are starting to change a little bit, and you know, you do notice a few things are starting to change. And literally the minute Farah dipped his head and, you know, a couple of other things at the club happened, things have started to change. But I'd have a couple of the 1878s on the and not working for Everton as in like, you need to tell them this, you need to tell them that. You work for the fans, but Everton pay you the money. And because if we're going to do this seriously, if we're going to do this really seriously, why should you have a full, it mightn't be you, of course, but why should you, someone in the 1878, be giving all your time to go in and put the flags in and do all this thing and everything else when it is your time? Yes, you love the football club, but time's expensive now. Time is very expensive. Work
It's the biggest thing you've got.
Work is longer hours. We're all working longer hours. We're all trying to get ahead any way we can. You know, the laptop's coming out on your knee at 10 o'clock at night and all that kind of thing. We're desperately trying to, you know, have our family time as well and do everything else. Why shouldn't a couple of people in the 1870s be paid by Everton Football Club to do that job? And I think that can create that trust that takes us forward as a football club. Because all we want to do and all we want to be is united, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've showed that every single time. And the people who normally break that contract are the football club by doing something idiotic, or one of them saying something or putting something out. Or I thought the Roma thing was really interesting this week with the tacky top. You know, they're the little missteps that can cause. I've said this for years. We've said this.
Badgegate, isn't it?
It's the little things. Yeah. It's the little things that if you make sure the little things are right, everything else flows. You know, they're really important. Making sure the socks for kids never run out in the club shop. Do you know what I mean? Or those little things are the bugbear, aren't they? Of everything that underpins the football club.
It makes you look amateur, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but everything, like, there's no, the ale's running out, or there's no coffee, or whatever it is, they're going to be big things when we get to the new ground. And I honestly believe if you get all those little things right, and you keep all of us happy, you keep that fan base happy, we will be foot soldiers for this football club. Because we do it now in spite of some of the things the football club do. And I think, you know, it's massively important that people like you who've gone the extra mile and going into the ground and staying in after the ground afterwards and collecting the flags and raising the money and all that kind of thing, I'd appreciate it properly. Listen,
I just want to give a shout out
Go
when
on.
you say that, Pez, as well, for like Katie Carter and Gemma Burks. You know, I mean, I stepped away for personal reasons for a bit this season, and they literally kept, you know, along with other people on the group as well, that group firing, you know what I mean? And they've had their own things going on in the background.
Yeah,
they've
they've
had to
done a
look
great
after
job.
family, and
of course,
you know, I think you're right. You know, I think there's so many things this Friday crew can do if they come in. You know, there's so many quick wins, and like you say, it's the small things. Get them right first. You know, make sure that we're a professional outfit in everything that we do. Set our new narrative. Embrace the fact that actually the fans are this football club. You know,
and that's going to be so important, Dave, as we go into a new football club, because there's going to be so many unknowns when we go to this football club. We're used to Goodison Park. We know every corner of it.
Yeah.
Me and Baz have been Baz worked there for years, but in recent years, me and Baz have been in that ground, literally on our own, with a handful of absolute Everton legends, and I swear to God, I've been in that ground, and I had to show Andy Gay out of the ground.
yeah.
Like, there was nobody else there. We know every crevice of that ground. I've been lucky to play on it like 10 times. I've been in every stand. When we go to this new ground, it's going to be completely alien. None of us are going to know anything about it, and it's going to be really important.
It's scary but exciting.
No, it's not scary to me, mate. It's the greatest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
But what is really is like, at the moment we pass that knowledge on to people. I don't know about you two, but I get daily messages, and the channel gets daily messages. How do I get
International
tickets?
fans, yeah.
Where do I go before the game? What shall I do? How far is it from Lime Street? All those questions we're going to need answering for ourselves. And that's another important thing, is like making sure the fan base and people like us, and I'm talking about all three of us here, because we all get those questions, that we are all absolutely geared up and know all the answers to those questions.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot easier for the football club, I think, to just, because it's almost like self-policing yourself, isn't it? In many ways, there's a thing of like, and I think that's what we learned from Germany as well, wasn't it, Baz? Is that they self-policed. There was some actual police going in the ground. They went, we don't have police in the ground. Police make situations worse. We can deal with situations, not stewards, but those fan liaison officers can go into like the ultra sections or whatever and calm down. Say, what's the problem? Well, this is the problem. All right, we'll relay that back to the club, because that's his job. And he's talking to him as a fan. And I think all those things are really important that we're going to have to do. And I think these are the things that, I know, as I said before, the club can annoy us a lot of the time, but a lot of times they do get things right. But I think if they can get that right and start going with all this experience that we have and working with this experience, it can be a really bright future.
I think you're right. Well, rewinding back to the fans forum days, and I'm thinking about Tony Sampson and me and him come up with an idea around international fans and having a kind of buddy group as a domestic group. So, argument's sake, the Bobblers could be paired up with Chicago Toffees, or Hans Tours could be paired with, the Indonesian Evertonians, or whatever.
Why wouldn't it be?
But what they've got a link in, it never got off the ground. And remember the club being really, kind of, well, what happens if this happens? But it's exactly what you're saying. Actually, let the fans start looking after themselves. You know what I mean? And if they need a link to a domestic group, then actually they can speak to a group, a member of a domestic supporter group already, and they can say, well, this is what you should do. This is the places you should go. Actually, some of our group goes to this pub if you want to come here, and it just increases that engagement, doesn't it? So.
And the other side of that is, right, if Everton have got a problem with a supporters group or a section of the fan base, cut them out then. Make an I know that sounds really harsh, but if you don't trust a section of your...
I don't think it was trust. I think it was more...
The point being, what I'm saying is, if you don't trust a section of fan base, whatever it is, don't punish everybody else. Don't punish fans who are coming from abroad, who want someone to talk to ease them into that situation. Punish those people. Say, listen, we've heard this happened and that happened. It's not happening again, because if it does happen again, we're stripping you of your official supporters club status. Don't be scared.
I think it's more being safe. I think we're very safe.
Well, we're safe, but we're also
being safe.
But also a lot of the times I think, what's over there? What's over there? Rather than dealing with the situation. Again, that comes down to self-policing of like, if people are not pulling in the same direction, you have to say to them, well, listen, you know, we greet you on favourable terms for different things, whether it be away tickets or whatever it is, then sorry, you're going to have to start playing your part in how we look at it, which is, this club wants to be an international club. None of this L4 nonsense. It wants to be an international club. It's the only way you grow. Now, that's not me saying we want to be a day tripper club. That's a different thing.
The two entities can coexist, can't they?
They can, but the two things are this day tripper thing of like people just rocking up buying tickets and going, I want to go to that ground, is different from being an international fan. Who we all know we do in this channel. You doing what you do. We all know there's people all over the world so passionate about this football club. Yeah. It's incredible, and they're up all night. You know, sometimes for Shane Duffy, sometimes not. You know, they're getting up at silly o'clock if they're on the west coast of America. They're watching from, you know, in a bar in Indonesia, whatever it is, and all they want to do is come to the match. And listen, if it's windy and the game gets called off, then they'll have to come to another game, won't they? But we look after them. Yeah. And that's important that those links remain, because it has become huge in the last 15 years through social media. Now, I mean,
as you say, though, it goes back to the small things that matter as well. You know, I speak to Lynn Chu over the Malaysian Evertonians. Met her when she was last over. In fact, I think I've got a key ring on my keys there from the Malaysian Toffees. But they can't buy kits in America. You know, they're in Malaysia. You know,
to make their own.
They end up going to, you know, different websites that Ned may
websites
or may not use.
Knock out websites.
To buy all of his stuff, but you know, that's the you know, and then Everton lose out as a result. So there's so many quick wins that, you know, that this group can come in and do. I think straight away, and it's like you say, it's the bigger picture stuff, but also getting them small things right, getting kits to Everton into the right place.
There's reports of quick wins that Everton are actually going to play a friendly at Goodison Park on the 10th of August against AS Roma. It hasn't been confirmed. No. It's come from being Sport, the American arm, so I don't know whether there's something out there, but this is something we said. I mean, I think we said on the channel last week they should do, because we knew that fixture that block was free that week.
Yeah,
Everton do love a home friendly against
don't forget the day
European opposition.
The day after, I think that's the 10th, isn't it?
That's 10th of August. Yeah,
the 11th of August. There's a competition, 1878 football competition,
right,
which is going to be in the pits in Kirkdale. So there's going to be a variety of Everton fan teams that are going to go there, and it's all the funds are obviously going towards trying to make the last season at Goodison a fantastic season with banners and all the atmosphere, and make sure
try and get an AS Roma team if any fans are coming over. Or we've got a video actually out tonight with Tom, who's a Everton and Roma fan, and he was really good. He was giving me some insight. It was just interesting listening to hear you say what the Freaking Group can do. He's obviously been supporting Roma before the Freaking Group took over him. The changes they've made, making it a better fan experience. And he goes into detail about...
Watched it this morning.
Oh, you've watched it, haven't you? So he goes into...
Because you're a Premier member.
That's because
they've seen it because it's a Premier member. But he goes on about the fan experience, the changes that they've made over there, doesn't he? And obviously, Everton new stadium will be well up on where they're playing right now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. What else would you like to see then, Dave? Hang on, before we just... Because... You know, we've still got about 10 minutes or so left. So let's do first and foremost Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's the hot topic at the moment. He's obviously got less than a year left on a contract now. He would have gone off to Newcastle had he been able to agree personal terms, or if Callum Wilson would have gone, whichever one you want to believe. You would have found out on the shocking truth that the News Daily that went out last night, Ned and his titles, the shocking truth. I mean, even I was shocked when I seen the title.
I had to click on
and I done the bleeding news.
I was shocked I clicked on it.
Classic Ned.
I liked.
So what would you do, Dave? What are your feelings on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and where do you stand with that right now?
Before I forget as well, happy birthday, Lee Mitchell, one of the bobblers. It's his birthday.
Lee, happy birthday.
So I know he
have
watches.
A good one.
Calvert-Lewin is a player that I really like, I'll be honest with you. I've always been one of these people who've argued over the years when he's been getting flack, even when he first was breaking through. But you've just got to step back and look at the situation. You know, he's an asset now, whether we like it or not. You know, Everton are in a precarious situation with finances. We know that we need to do the right thing more often than not when it's for financial reasons. So I think we've got to give him an ultimatum. I know that Felwell discussed when he got interviewed last season that he should have done that with Anthony Gordon much sooner. So Everton were in a position to then obviously spend some of that money. Probably didn't have to spend, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But learn from that. Have that same energy with our own squad. So I think they should be saying to him, right, look, it's been a bit of a rough 18 months, Tom. We've looked after you. We've got you back to where you need to be. Think about this club. We need an answer because we're in a position now where we need to either go out there and replace you, or we need to know that you're staying. What we can't do is let this rumble on.
Yeah. So
I think, look, Calvert-Lewin's a nice lad. I think he'll understand, Everton's position, but have that conversation. Are they having that conversation? I don't know. They might be in the background. I know he's been away and he's getting engaged and all that stuff's going on. So who knows? He might come back and sign it. But personally, I think they need to set a date now and just have an absolute. Are you staying or are you going?
I think he's going. I think he's told Everton he's going as well. And it's a case of...
He would have signed, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He would have signed,
yeah. Graham Bailey sort of said yesterday, didn't he?
Big Bales.
The stuff got big Bales. The stuff going around is that he sold it. He wants to leave. There you go. We'll have to sort that out. I want to say hello to John Herrera, who is in Texas and he wakes up every morning to watch. Heading to Goodison for the first time this December. We have a good supporter group here in Austin. Hello, John. It'll be excellent. Get in touch with us when you come over. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see what happens with Dom. In terms of the Freaking group, and I wanted someone before. It was just B. Said Harrison is far from decent. He's decent. I'm happy with my assessment of him.
He's just a steady Eddie. Yeah. A steady Eddie Premier League
hard
player.
Worker. Yeah, does well. Freaking group then.
Yeah.
If this takeover does go through and all the indications are positive right now that it'll happen. What do you want to see sort of early on from them that'll make you think this is different than when Mashiri took over and this is a force for good rather than, or better for the football club than what we've had previously?
Straight away, I think communication. I think a lot of fans have felt let down over the years about us being reactive.
Yeah.
I want them to be very proactive. I want them to come in straight away, meet the fan advisory board, Dave Kelly and the gang there, and meet, some of the groups out there, the 1878s, get to know, the content providers like yourself. What can we do to work together with you as fans? I really put fans at the forefront of the football club, and come in and be very clear about what they want to bring to the club. And I think if they come in, talk the talk's one thing. We've heard a lot of that with our past owner Farhad, but what we want them to do is walk the walk as well. So look for them quick wins straight away. Set the tone. Maybe bring in a head of communications, maybe a Julia or someone like that, or
Alan Myers.
Well, I know you, or Alan Myers or someone like that.
And Julia, get the both of them.
Get the both of them in.
Head it up.
But just get in straight away. Set the narrative. Talk about what Everton, are going to be, but involve the fans in that journey. Take us along with it, and show us. Excite us, and I think there's lots of things they can do, but I think by improving that communication straight away, by showing us where they want, what their intentions are for us, and not just what their intentions are, because anyone can say we want to win the league, but what's your plan? How are you going to get us there? How are we going to be involved in that journey? And I think that'll be a great start if they can come in straight away off the bat and do that.
One thing I'd love to see, Dave, and you're part of this group, obviously, the 1878, if you didn't know, Dave is part of that group. I'd like to see them given that area behind the goal. Just given to them, regardless of whoever, people might go, well, I've been a season ticket holder for years and I want to be, but that's going to be a safe standing area, and hopefully people will start pushing for that to be a standing section, because there's no reason why
needs to be standing.
And let's have it right. Years ago, I understood what happened to Hillsborough, what happened in other grounds. I was at Villa Park for the semi-final as a kid and ended up about 40 foot away from where I was stood without being able to do anything. Just got lit. It was dangerous.
Yeah.
But we have stood on. We've been to Germany, We stood. Yeah. On the yellow wall, the shock and truth are going to the yellow wall. But the reason why I say it was we were in with 25,000 stood behind the goal at Dortmund. the thing is, and Everton have got it now, the way it's set up. With the barriers, there's no opportunity for a crush. Them days are gone. You're there, you're protected front
It's what
and back.
it is, safe standing.
It's the safe standing. It literally does what it says on the tin. And therefore, there's no reason now why it shouldn't be. And hopefully the lobby will continue for that. And that's how Everton's attendance can go up. It's 1 to 1.5 with the ratio and all that. And that will push the attendance up. But if you bounce behind that goal, because at Dortmund, they just got I can't remember what the group's, it's something like section 205 or something, or one. I can look back on the video to see exactly what it is, but they've got a small section.
Yeah.
That is, everyone stands, but they've got a small section right behind the goal, like right behind the goal, where their ultras stand.
Yeah.
And they start all the atmosphere from there. Now, I don't envisage someone being a Bramley-Moore, Everton new stadium, and looking at the crowd and getting the crowd going while the game's going on, which is a bit mad, but that's what happened there, waving flat and like screaming to the crowd to get the atmosphere going. But if you put, I don't know the numbers, but say it was 500, say it was 250, they just guaranteed that to the 1878 cement. 250 seats behind the goal on the south stand, standing banners, and the noise will reverberate around that stadium, guaranteed right behind the goal there. I think that'd be a fantastic start for the football club. I think you put them in. We want this place to. What are we nervous about leaving Goodison Park for? That atmosphere. When Goodison is bouncing, there's no ground like. I don't care. I'm not asked whether you're the tourists. When they sing that song for a few minutes, they've got a good atmosphere, but it's quiet. But I guess when they kick off and start singing, it's loud. When places like Old Trafford, I don't know, but Newcastle is loud when they start. Lots of clubs. Palace is really good. Lots of clubs have it. Goodison physically shakes when we start singing. We're always going to be biased because it's our club and go, no ground's louder than ours. But we need to take that best moments from Goodison and get them into this new stadium. Every criticism of a new stadium is it's quiet at first.
Souls Bowl, all that kind
Arsenal
of stuff.
are just now starting. Arteta's done this there. They're starting to make the Emirates a bit noisy for a change.
And it's about...
It took 18 years.
I think you've just said, well, Arsenal being reactive, be proactive about it. So, so you've got... Obviously, I know John Blaine was involved in the originals, when they had a group, Kane and the gang as well. And they
before he moved to Scam.
Before
started loving
it's
Dwight
a lifestyle
McNeil,
choice, isn't it?
It is lifestyle choices.
So, Scam might be lovely. I've never been, but there you go.
Scam's all right. I just meant I was just factually till Kane.
If you like roundabouts,
got off and moved to Scam.
I mean, their group done some really good work. Getting that footprint, and I know that they had a few barriers then. So let's learn from that. Let's do it from the inception. Let's not open it and then start to try and look to relocate people. Do it from the get go, like you say. Get a huge group there of people that are going to stand up. Say to people, actually, to sign a disclaimer. If you sit here, you can expect to stand up, sing, hold banners. There'll be parts of the game that you can't see because you'll be holding the banner up or you'll be involved. But be clear, you don't want people going there and then complaining because they've got to hold a banner up or they can't see the game or whatever. Make sure that everyone knows this is what the South Stand is going to be about. This is its identity. And I'm sure, the club spoke to the 1878. They've got a good relationship with the club. That they can, that the group can advise them of what steps they should take to try and make, because that's what we all want. We want, as you say, we want Bramley-Moore to be absolutely electric, don't we, from the scratch. Yeah. So it's almost like you haven't left Goodison atmosphere-wise.
Well, yeah, look, there's obviously that's the artist.
That whole section behind the goal going all the way up, just being like fans with the banners.
And they need a 3D tifo machine. Rather than holding banners up, you need the whole 3D tifo machine, like it comes down and all.
But I met a lot of MLS clubs have that and stuff, and other clubs in Europe have the thing. It's quite straightforward. Once you've got it in, you've got it in. Yeah. But I think certainly if you've got that behind the goal, that will begin. The atmosphere will filter out from there, and you sit
sets the tone, doesn't it?
Well, it's whenever Everton go away, the fans are unbelievable. There's only a small amount of 3,000.
And you could even, you could even say to that, the away crowds who go, and provide that atmosphere, get them, in that South Stand, try and capture all them people in one area.
Though, isn't it?
And it, like you say, it reverberates around.
And then you make it hostile, and that's what we need. We want it to be great.
Bramley-Moore horrible.
That's it, isn't it? That's the tagline.
Good for all the right reasons, but horrible away teams.
So yeah, Roma then left very quickly for a few minutes left. Roma as a friendly. It's good, isn't it? I mean, obviously big club and...
Under the Batistutas playing and Toffee, did he still play?
Get them back for this one. Let them two kick off.
We have a Legends match as well.
Just there. Legends match for an hour before. Great players there. Their manager'd have to play though, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But it's a good one, isn't it? I mean, Everton do have Europe generally. You know, last year was an anomaly. We actually won the European opposition game at Goodison. We normally lose it, but it's a good one, isn't it? And there might be a little link up for the two clubs going forward, as in friendlies, not as in moving people around.
Wonder if we'll have a vintage top as well. I'm thinking back to when we had the was it Villarreal and Sandro scored.
It was Sevilla, wasn't it?
Sevilla, yeah. Mm-hmm. So are we going to have a
2-2?
We don't even know what the home. Well, we kind of know what the home kit looks like, but we shouldn't know. But you know,
I don't think we'll have it for that
some
one,
of these tops, and
there will be one for the season, but it won't be them. But I think it's a good. It's a
really good one. It's something you look forward to, isn't it? You know, and I think back of going to watch Brazil, growing up at Goodison. You know, and they're the things you remember as a kid when you grow up.
Yeah.
I think, you know, a lot of people like to bring the kids to them pre-season games as well. So I'm sure that'll add a bit of excitement to say I'm going to see an Italy side, you know, and Roma and this and that.
So we're not in Europe, so this is our one shot at European opposition.
We will be at the end of next season.
Oh man, that'll be the other side of the new ground though, when we get those international friendlies.
Tasty.
The Euros there, obviously, aren't they? European nights at Bramley-Moore.
Just sounds so right.
Great.
We might have a t-shirt coming out dedicated to some of those international plays.
But you meant a European nights at Bramley-Moore. It's going to shape jumping a gun
that
there.
Sounds like a good t-shirt, to be fair.
Be fraps. But no, it'll all be good. It'll all be good. So things moving positively anyway, and hopefully Everton can get another couple of players in quickly, because that'll keep momentum, and then you see how you go, don't you? Obviously, think
goals, pace. I know you say it all the time.
But that's it, isn't it?
We've got the stability there, haven't you? Now, so just add to that now. You know, Calvert-Lewin goes, fair enough. Get two fast players in that can score goals.
I'd like to see us go and get Adebayo if Calvert-Lewin goes. I'd love Everton to go and take a chance on a Kevin Denkiar, you know, and bring someone like that in. But
the only caveat with that is I was looking. As you do, I was looking at Beto's goal record, and I think it was 10 and 11 in Serie A. I looked at Adebayo, and I think it was obviously 10 last year, but I know it was only 20 odds a game, 28 games maybe. But he's not, you know.
No, he's not prolific. He's just powerful.
He's a steady hold-up
player.
But
you can go and get, I mean, the link with Sekou Koita, where, you know, the fact that he's had a contract with him for mad one, but he has got a good goal record, but I don't see that happening. But there is others. There's lots. I mean, I'd love Konate, who also plays in Australia. He's only 20 or 21 now, but he's a hot prospect. Someone like him would be really good. But
and you never know. I mean, it seems like it's going to be in spells this summer. So we've had that summer transfer deadline. It's gone quiet again. And I know players are away still and coming back in the testing weeks next week, isn't it? / back into this week.
Some are in today. But yeah.
So we'll probably start to see more movement again. But it just feels like with Everton now, we almost need one of them players to move as well. Whether that's an Onana or Calvert-Lewin, and then we might see 2 or 3 again.
Yeah.
Could you go and persuade Richarlison to come back? I know we're obsessed with bringing ex-players.
I don't think we'd have to persuade them. Can you persuade
Daniel
Spurs?
Levy? Yeah. But if we're talking to Daniel Levy over Telly, maybe at the moment, if we are. Then ask the question. You know, can we bring him on loan?
Well, they want him out, don't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know whether they need the money.
You see, the beauty of bringing in, say, him. 3 out of 4 seasons at Everton, he hit double figures in goals.
Double figures every year.
Yeah, in goals and assists. I think one year he got 7 goals, didn't he?
In all competitions, he got double low, didn't he?
But that allows you again to, when we talk about risk. Then, well, you know, bring him in, and that then allows us to take a few risks and go rather than spending 25 million on someone from the Premier League.
I imagine, though, if and this is a huge if, and we are going to finish now because we'll be on more than a game in a few minutes. We better join us there. But I think we'd have to have an obligation with him. It's the only way Spurs would give me. It'd have to be.
I'd be happy with it as well. Age-wise,
40 million next summer or something for him, or whatever it'd be. I don't know, it might even be more than I have no idea. But that might be the way to go with it.
If you guarantee, if you know bringing him in,
But I don't know whether you'd get him.
I'd love to sign him because I'd get the feeling that he'd rock up in a pair of Everton shorts that he still had
Of course he would.
from when he was
He was
last
here,
year.
apparently he was here a few weeks ago with his Everton gear on, seeing.
That's what I'd love. I just love it.
He's mad.
I don't think I think it's is it his cousin or his sister, and she seems to really love living in. She moves.
Cousin.
She moves where he moves, and she loves London by the looks of it. So I don't know if she'd be, but I'd say you would be happy. That team he managed.
Yeah.
They'd
Brazilians.
They'd be happy. They'd get
be
their
made up.
manager back in the old suit.
It's the fact he turned up. He went there with a suit on and was giving them and like all the bus and
You
all
know
of
when
that,
people
and
say,
taking the piss out of it.
why do you still love Richarlison? Things like that. Yeah. That's why I still love Richarlison.
He is a
He
loon.
threw a flare into the crowd, for God's sake. And I've still got 500 T-shirts in my loft with that picture on.
Need to shift.
No, it'd be great. He will. I know you're right. I mean, people
It
don't
just
go back.
guarantees double figures, doesn't it?
He's just great, isn't he? And he's a springboard. And you know, he is someone Sean Dyche would love because he works his bollocks off for you, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So anyway, that I think that may well
We
be
can
a
dream.
pipe dream. We can dream. Well, it's either him or Lukaku. So take your pick.
Richarlison.
Who gets more goals, though?
Just after the Euros.
Who gets more goals?
Just after the Euros, just watching Lukaku.
I know, but he still scores goals. Roma'd still get more than double. If he come here, he'd still get
Imagine him
12,
with
15
Dyche's
We'd have to get him on the heel, though.
pre-season.
He'd be on the heel with us.
Have to
Be
get him on
buzzing.
the heel.
And then Gaffer Day, Roma Gaffer Day would be something. I imagine that would be in, Everton could sell that.
Yeah.
Could sell that.
Rom is to fitness what Ned is to golf.
What, just starting out?
They just don't go
They
together.
don't go together.
They don't go
And
together.
yet
They wear the gear, great, but actually
all
when
the
it comes
gear
to,
and no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know, when he was at Everton, he was his leanest, meanest, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
That was when he was
But
tremendous.
It's when he cuts his hair. That was the issue. I
That
think.
was it. It was like Samson. Get the hair back, Ron.
Get the braids
In fact, I don't think he can get them back now. He's gone full baldy, hasn't he?
Bit of a wig.
Hey, Shank, it works for Shank. Imagine Ron turning up with spray on it. It'd be incredible. God, what a thought. What a
doesn't rain
thought.
in
The shocking
tomorrow.
truth.
The shocking truth of Ron's new hair. Be incredible. Right, we're going to be live on More Than a Game. In 6 minutes' time, we'll be discussing other football stories. But if an bit of Everton news breaks within that
It's
time,
Friday.
we'll be discussing
Two
Everton.
40 games.
You may as well.
Two
I know that I can't wait.
Two good
Hang on.
ones. Two good
Spain
ones.
v Germany is on a 5.
Messi last night.
Tasty.
What about
Tasty,
Messi last
tasty.
night?
We've got
Might
a
talk about Messi
We
last
have
night.
got a little bit of Messi to talk about in a minute.
So I had
Things
to
will
be
get
smart.
messy.
Didn't happen.
There you go. Well, just stay where you are, get a drink, because the magical super hyperlink space travel will get you over to More Than a Game channel. And you can
Basically like the
discuss more.
Tesseract.
Oh,
in
my
MCU.
God.
And we all know how that went, didn't we,
Oof.
Baz?
Oof.
Hey.
Oh, like that time that Palatine returned. Palatine somehow
Somehow
returned. He returned.
he returned.
And somehow
he returned.
Somehow you'll end up on More Than a Game if you just stay where you are with your drink.
Very much like when Baz lived out his dreams by going on the Millennium Falcon.
That was my dream.
Yeah,
1, 2,
yeah.
and 3. Star Wars episode 4, 5, 6, even though they were 1, 2, 3 at the time and someone rewrote history. Very much like the way Ned did. See you in a bit.
See you later.